So let me go ahead and just kind of start down our path of the conversation about supply chain, Kieran. And what I wanted to do, the way that we decided to do this is we decided to essentially take a look at the positioning of blockchain in aviation or in the industry. And maybe we could just start by having you make a few comments about a brief little slide here. And it's going to go into next into the problem statements that are affecting these areas. But Kieran, could you take a look at this slide and just make some comments about this slide and what it really means to our viewers out there today?
Absolutely, Mark. So essentially, there are four major solutions or four major pillars, I would say problem statements and pain areas, which we are trying to address through with our solutions. So the first one is the cost of poor quality and multi-tier supplier collaboration. So that is where our real collaboration solution comes into picture, where we are helping organizations interact digitally with the multi-tier supplier network from an order standpoint, quality assurance standpoint, supplier quality assurance standpoint, and also building in turn building the digital twin of a manufactured part. So we understand today's manufacturing world is where aerospace manufacturing especially is very tightly regulated and tightly integrated industry. But when it comes to tier 2 or tier 3 or tier 4 visibility, that's where we find it is not much of a digitization which has been actually done to get the multi-tier or the sub-tier suppliers digitized. So that is what Real Collab is all about, which is cost of poor quality. So essentially, we are trying to reduce the cost of poor quality by up to 30%. So what the organizations are facing today, we can reduce that by up to 30% as per our solutions.
Those primary benefits that you're stating are coming from collaboration from tier 2, tier 3 supplier collaborations on the network is what you're talking about on the nodes?
That's correct. That's correct, Mark. So it not only talks about tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, but also the non-risk, non-revenue suppliers at the tier 1 side as well. Because we understand that a lot of integration is already in place for the tier 1 risk revenue sharing suppliers. But when it comes to the non-risk, non-revenue sharing suppliers, that's where a lot of digitization work is yet to happen as per our understanding.
Yeah. And when you have some numbers thrown up there that say up to 20%, up to 80%, I mean, so I know you guys are seeing some real value from the production level solutions that you've put in place. Maybe I'll just see if we can maybe throw that question over to LV. LV, how are you seeing, blockchain really being able to make a significant impact in a supply chain process?
Well, the biggest efficiency that we see is that the information can be shared from the source itself, so it does not have to wait for someone else to translate, mash up, or then extrapolate and then send the information to the next level. That is the first point that we see. The second aspect that we see is the auditability of the information. When you have to arrive at a certain decision, that is something that the blockchain is able to give us very, very easily. And also the aspect that you can have the private collections between the different parties, so that the information can be shared on the fly in near real time. That is where we see quite a number of things. So just to translate that into business, right? So if you know that the quality of a certain component which is tested at the tier 2 is not up to the mark as per the OEM, then the OEM can actually reject that part then and there itself. It need not have come into the chain, and then it need not have to eat up a lot of resources until it gets into the next level assembly, and that assembly getting into the next level assembly. This is what we see as a potential application.
Okay, and LV, just one more follow-up question before we sort of dig into some of the details of how you're actually achieving this. Just tell our viewers again one more time, why is it that blockchain changes the situation and allows us to be able to be more successful in achieving these kind of benefits? How is it that blockchain can really make a difference over any other traditional methods of deployment of IT?
Traditional methods are always tier 2 to tier 1, tier 1 to OEM, right? So which means that there is always a translation, or there is always an intermediary that is required. Even the application of blockchain for the Bitcoin is removing the intermediaries, right? So this is exactly what the blockchain for B2B on the commercial side is going to do. It is going to remove the intermediaries in terms of accessing the information and sharing the information and consuming the information. So the way that we see is that everybody created data warehouses in the 2000s. People have started data lakes in 2010s and 2011s. Now we are looking at data networks. That is something that we see as a huge potential, where multiple parties can consume auditable, trusted information from the blockchain, and no other existing technology is going to provide it at the
Yeah, that's
cost that blockchain is able to provide.
And I think what we're going to do is we're going to use some specific business and use cases to be able to sort of dig into that. Now,